Kuramo comes from a Portuguese word that means sort of to welcome. And so essentially what we do is that we welcome investors into Africa via Lagos. We started about 10 years ago, and we basically chaperone capital from the West into opportunities in Africa. And so we try and showcase with results that you can invest in Africa, different types of African assets, and generate risk-adjusted returns, and still also have a positive impact on the continent. So the two main risks that investors usually are concerned with are political risk, the risk that the country might not exist or fall into war whilst your money is in the country. And then the second is FX risk, the foreign exchange risk, the risk that the value of the currency that you're investing in might depreciate before you bring your money out. But what we are seeing over the last 2 decades is that Africa has actually become a much more secure continent, and same with Nigeria. So with Nigeria, we've changed power a number of times and we didn't fall into war. There could have been a few scuffles here and there, as it happens everywhere in the world, but it's the same with Ghana as well. It's the same with a lot of our neighboring African countries. Power has changed from one party to the other, and there's still been continuity. So that risk is already solving for itself in terms of being mitigated. Then in terms of FX risk, that risk it's still there, that there's a risk that, say for example, you invest in Nigeria, the Naira might depreciate before you get out. But that's when you then need investors like ourselves that can show you businesses that are well priced and can grow at a faster rate than which the currency might depreciate. And at the end of the day, you are net and probably even making 2 to 3x on your money. It's not easy, but it's possible. And we've been doing it, and that's what we keep doing. When it comes to reparation or anything to do with the government, I feel obedience is the key word. Dance to the tune of what the government is saying. And usually our regulators are just misunderstood. They actually have the economy's best interest at heart. With repatriation of foreign currency, domiciled investments in Nigeria, there's something the CBN introduced called the CCI. It means the Certificate of Capital Importation. And at the point at which you're bringing in the dollars, you're supposed to register this with the CBN. And if you register it duly, you're supposed to get a certificate that gives you a right to return the capital at the maturity of the investment at that same rate. People would say that the process might be a bit cumbersome, it might be a bit cumbersome. And my response to them is, then you factor this into your transaction execution plan. This is where good financial advisors come in, and we have loads of them in the country. This is where good legal advisors come in as well, and they would help you structure the terms of your transaction where your conditions precedent and your conditions subsequent accounts for this peculiarity in our economy. So I don't think it's a problem, it's just a reality that we're dealing with. I'm a really big fan of our CBN. I think our CBN is one of the most progressive in the world, not just in Africa. And although I think they're very misunderstood, and the more we engage with them, you would continue to see that they're actually a very, bright, progressive bunch. One thing that I think that the CBN had done is, in the introduction of the bank verification numbers. And the introduction of those numbers, every Nigerian that has an account has a unique identification number. And this is helping us to solve the problem of the lack of credit. Because now lenders have more of a touch point on borrowers because of that BVN number. And now we are seeing that the penetration of lending, micro lending, SME lending, payday lending is growing. And when lending in any economy grows, your consumption pattern continues to increase, and the multiplier effect is there for the whole economy to see. So that's a good one that I think the government has introduced over the last few years, and will continue to reap the benefits for generations to come. I think a lot of our industries are ripe for investment. See, when there's an inefficiency in a market, it's an investment opportunity, because when you're solving that problem, you would continue to make money. But for me, I think the 3 critical sectors that the government needs to focus on is 1, education. We need to spend at least 3% of our GDP on education. And then we need to also spend a similar amount on healthcare. It's only somebody that is awake that can type. It's only somebody that is healthy that can work. So if we are saying that we are bragging about our population strength, your population is not going to do anything for you if they're not educated, if they're not healthy. And finally, I would say financial inclusion in terms of this population that we're talking about. They need to be able to pay for goods and services and also receive payments. So I think if the government focuses on these three, and which they're already doing a very good job, I think that, we would continue to see more and more benefits. There are other things like agriculture that are low-hanging fruits, power as well. I mean, is somebody that can charge their phone, that can use their phone. And that's what we're linking to financial inclusion. So Nigeria, there are a lot of issues that need to be solved. But for me, I just look at it that means there's a lot of opportunities for unicorns to be born. There's a lot of opportunities for billionaires to be born by solving these problems. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't say, predict the future. If I could, I think I would be chilling with Elon Musk. But industries or businesses that are positively linked to FX. So any business that earns foreign currency. So maybe they sell cashew nuts in Ghana and in Antwerp and in, Shanghai. As long as you're earning FX, your business is a little bit more resilient. And you're also helping the Nigerian economy. So businesses that have an ability to create solutions and services and products that are attractive to foreign investors. That's one. But the foreign investors, we always underplay the power of the Nigerians in diaspora. Nigerians in diaspora, Africans in diaspora are generally more educated and more successful with a bit more spending power. So if you're creating products and services that you can sell to Nigerians here, but Nigerians abroad also think it's excellent and it can compete with what is offered to them abroad, you're onto something. The answer is yes. Unequivocal yes. We will, but it's not going to be easy. But tech is going to open more opportunities than oil and gas ever did for us. Oil and gas is a type of commodity that the value chain is quite narrow. And so the people who get empowered from bringing out the oil to actually getting the petrol into your car is quite small. But for tech, it's different. Firstly, tech empowers all other industries. Oil and gas, you can say, empowers all other industries, but the level of human capital required, the proliferation, the multiplier effects, is going to be immense. And it's things that the tech boom in Africa, or the tech boom in Nigeria, already we can see how many people have learned how to code, how many skills are being developed, families being empowered. We appreciate the oil, but this is much, much more exciting. If it's so difficult to do business in Nigeria, how come Murtala Mohammed Airport every day is so packed with foreign investors coming into the country, Chinese investors coming into the country, Turkish, Lebanese coming to the country on a daily basis? If it's so difficult, then why are they here? They're not stupid. There are other countries to go to. There's something here. You just have to unlock it. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. Now, those metrics that they're using to judge us for ease of doing business, who is the authority in saying that if you tick this box, it's easy for you to do business? Have they taken into the peculiarity of doing business in Nigeria? Any young boy that is in secondary school, GSS1 or GSS2 at 11 years old, he can finish from school at 3 p.m. and go on the road and support his father as a mechanic. That's easy to do. It's easy to do business. I don't get. If I want to make money right now as a Nigerian, I just need to go to the market, buy something and resell it. So how is that tough to make money? So when people say the ease of doing business is difficult, whose standards are you judging us by? Africa is Africa. We have our peculiarities. We're not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying it's easy, but cut us some slack and give us a break. If it's so difficult, why are all these foreign banks scouring for African banking licenses? Think about it. If it's so difficult, why are foreigners scouring to get permits to launch mobile telecommunication networks in Africa? If it's so difficult, why are people still trying to, come into Africa and get permits to come and, register their drug manufacturing plants? If it was that difficult, they wouldn't be here. There's a market here that is stronger and more ambitious and more resilient than any other market in the world. Africa has the most population of people under 18 anywhere in the world. Those people under 18, they're going to consume music, they're going to consume art, they're going to buy credits for their phone, they're going to buy data for their phone, they're going to buy clothes, they're going to go out, they're going to eat food. Our economy is ripe. So when people say things like ease of doing business, security, there are peculiarities that we're dealing with. The insecurity in Nigeria, yes, it's very annoying and it's a problem. But since you've been in Lagos, I mean, has any bomb gone off? The investment market opening up in the post-pandemic, again, I'll mention the fact that Africa is not going to look the way it looked before on paper. It's now a free continental trade area. So I can do a business here and have confidence that I can sell it to somebody in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And somebody in Ethiopia can send me coffee here and they have confidence that it will get paid for because money can move without excessive charges. That's one. Two, it also means that a Ghanaian investor can wake up tomorrow morning and go to Sapele and start to do fishing and invest in a fishing business there because, again, there's free movement of capital and talent across the continent. So that in itself, it's so beneficial and I'm really looking forward to that. In terms of industries and sectors that we'll be looking at, what you'll be seeing in our education sector and our healthcare sector is going to be different because it's going to be largely tech-enabled and payments are going to become a little bit more flexible and you start having stuff like, SaaS models, like, as a service models where you can just come and log in and pay for what you want to pay for and take that class. And so education is going to be a lot more flexible in the next five years. And so the investment opportunities there are getting bigger and bigger. And what I always advise people to do is when you're looking at Africa and the progress of Africa, just think about other emerging markets that have similarities to us. Brazil. So most of the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, have similarities to us. Where they were 10 years ago in terms of growth, government enablement, availability of capital and financing, where they were 10 years ago, that's where Africa is just getting to. So if you see the successes that were recorded there, they're most likely going to be recorded here.